Welcome, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome to Beyond Your Radio. Welcome to Panelists' favorite show. And this one is the second time around. We're in 2024, so let's be thankful for some albums. And hopefully not the same ones we were thankful for last year. Although, if we were in syndication, that'd be fantastic. But hey, when you got 19 followers, you're not going to get that. It could be a new sound connection. It could get us through a tough time. It made us maybe aware of something. It made us take notice of a genre or band or artist that we had no idea and then fell in love with them went to the back catalog, followed them forever, went on tour with them. It could be also that it was a gift that we were not expecting from an artist or a band that gave us a bit more than what we were expecting. Well, you get the idea. Before we begin being thankful, let us say thank you to you who watch. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for not unsubscribing when you could have. No, you could have. I didn't, tell you had to. We're thankful for any comments we get from anyone it is, whether it's a famous individual from a band or it's just you, the listener, the lover, the appreciator. And of course, hit the like button if you feel thankful. They're gonna say how thankful they are that they're on the program. No, they're not gonna say how thankful they're on the program.
I'm thankful no one's watching this.
I want to say how
Can you see me blinking?
I want to say how thankful I am that they do this and with me from time to time. I hold it against their will and they do it anyway. So on the panel tonight, he has a fetish for Amish turkey. Jeff Young, I think.
What?
He loves the Amish turkey now. He won't have anything else but Amish turkey.
Really?
Yep. Tell him, Jeff.
It's just food made by the Amish. It's homemade. It's good.
I don't want anybody to think I'm just making shit up. A woman who's torn between stovetop and on the stovetop. Susie Q. Everyone's favorite long-winded tryptophan, Alex Kalizny. Wow. Cricket.
Yeah, I know. I've got terrible audience crowd noise.
Those will be edited in later.
So on tonight, we'll give our 5 albums we're thankful for. We'll go round the bend, 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 round the bend. So let's start off with Alex, since he's, ready to roll. He's got a brewing fire. He's got wine.
Yeah, when I was going through my list, I figured last year.
All right, let's go to Sue.
Last year, I really tried to pick very recent. I found I used the same albums throughout this last year, though, going back to them in different themes, and they all fit. Let's try to be a little different this time around. I'd say the first one I'm thankful for is a band that really started to catch my ear harder this year than it did before. Didn't realize how much of their catalog I really did like. It's something with turning 31 and finally hitting a new decade of your life, maybe. But I'll go with, and this is going to be a theme tonight for me, self-titled album, but it's going to be Van Halen.
Nice.
Cheers.
Yes.
And also one of the best goal songs that was in the NHL for a while, Vancouver Canucks using Ain't Talking About Love, was a phenomenal goal song.
Well, that's when anybody scored, right?
Yep. And then they changed their anytime goal song to another one that I can't hate, which is Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me. And I was like, that's also really good too. So this is awesome.
Wow. That's different. Wow. Well, that must whip the crowd into a frenzy.
Well, when they started with the, what was it? The, hey, like they go right in.
Okay.
The crowd gets into it. So.
Okay. All right. I guess that makes a little bit of sense. Sue.
So just before we went on, Alex made a derogatory remark about this singer and this song. My
That's
number
like 20
5
people.
is It's a Jagged Little Pill. Alanis Morissette.
It was not derogatory. I like that song. I just said if I sang it, I would butcher it.
All right.
It was derogatory to myself.
But yeah, I normally don't go with a lot of this, but I was just sitting there. I try to be real. I try to think about, and this is definitely an album that I used to listen to quite a bit, and I used to do karaoke too.
Mhm.
So
See, something I couldn't do. I would butcher it. I would make it worse.
you would not.
I would ruin a good thing.
All right, we will be going out for karaoke, and
We absolutely will not. That is beyond my pay grade.
it's all I'm asking for Christmas. Are you going to
All she
join
wants
me?
for Christmas. Nice. Maybe wait, we'll just have it at the house.
We could do that.
Yeah.
That
We
works.
panelists' favorite karaoke night, right?
Oh Jesus.
We
Please
have
tell
to
me
sing
that-
5 songs.
As long as it's not recorded, I'm in.
All right. No, it wouldn't be recorded. Am I winking? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr.
Why is that-
Young.
Why is that beanie bear on top of the TV with one eye?
I would say I'm going to say I'm thankful for the soundtrack to the television show Miami Vice first season because it had such a wide variety of artists, and that show was really became known for featuring new, upcoming, and even really current artists that were great.
Yeah.
And and then you look back at it now too. Not only were the artists great, some of the artists were actually performers, as actors, and some of them, actually, a lot of the actors and actresses in it, so many became well known and famous on their own, even 10 to 20 years later.
Yeah.
So it can be a trip watching those old episodes just to see who's in it. But yeah, just pretty good soundtrack.
Yeah, well, you even get the guy whose song made that show. He winds up being on the program, right? Phil Collins, and you've got what? Julia Roberts,
Ben Stiller, like there's just so many.
yeah, and one show alone, they had Chris Rock and Brown, Brown, not Jackson Brown, the other
Chris?
Brown, huh?
Chris Brown?
No, the
James Brown.
James Brown, yeah,
Brown.
James Brown and Chris Rock. Chris Rock was a kid, young kid.
Yeah, he must have been.
Yeah, I'm like sitting there. I stopped and went, wait a minute. Yeah, that's him. Wow, in the same episode with Jackson, or not Jack. God, what is it with Jackson Brown? Holy crap!
I know your next album.
Yeah, apparently one of my favorite. Not in a lifetime. No, I have some Jackson Brown.
I think it's like one of the only the TV theme from Jan Hammer. I think it was one of the only TV themes you ever listened to on the radio. We've got regular radio airplay.
Yeah.
And it's just instrumental.
Yeah. All right. So my number 5 is The Cult of Personality by Living Color. This album confirmed what I was hoping for. That structure could be of just people thinking that metal can be just one way, could be flipped and turned another. And what a great guitar playing and great singer in both, and the combination of the two. Just a wicked little album that could do just about anything. And hey, if Mick Jagger wants to be on your record, you know something's right, or you're doing something right. So back to Alex.
So staying on theme, another self-title here. Anytime I've heard a song from this album come on lately, I think the only word I can say is damn. And I just start reminiscing of what could have
She's
been.
not here.
The sentiment still stands. I'm still calling for Deb anytime I hear the song come on. No, it's Audio Slave self-titled album. I just constantly think what could have been with Chris Cornell. Just a vocal range that as I've gotten older, I've grown to appreciate more. Maybe didn't realize it in the prime of it all, but anything he did really felt like it turned to gold to me. And that album kind of epitomizes that for me. and held a lot of standard bearing as I got through my musical journey. And as I hear that album back now, it's still one that I just every time I hear it, I just pause with the way his vocals can sound, especially. So, yeah, Audio Slave self-titled.
Okay. Sue.
Okay.
You.
Well, I don't know what's going on tonight, but did it again. James Brown has made my list as part of
Damn it, Jackson!
as part of the Rocky 4 soundtrack.
I feel good.
Yeah, Living in America. It's an awesome album. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And it's a movie I think myself and a friend of mine used to watch quite often after we watch a really scary movie. And it's a really good soundtrack to run to. So,
Cool.
mhm.
Wow. Who would have thought?
And I love Survivors on it a couple times too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind
They
of-
got 2 tracks on there, don't they? I think.
Yeah, there's a few people on there.
Yeah, like the one part of the movie where Rocky does reflecting and he goes racing around in his Ferrari. They play like the whole song. It's like its own music video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over to you, Jeff.
I'm picking a band's 19th and final album and their first album in previous 18 years. That's the number 13 by Black Sabbath. And I'm mostly thankful that it did not suck. I'm thankful that it actually was really one of their better albums. It's an excellent album. I
Yeah.
mean, when I first heard the first song, I like said it to like my brother. I was like, I cannot believe this sounds just like old Ozzy and Black Sabbath. It was just awesome. And they just thank God they didn't disappoint. They were going to come back and do one more, and they did. And man, it was awesome.
Man, he's another one too. It kind of fits the Audio Slave Van Halen. It's making me stop in my tracks lately. I just had a conversation with someone the other night about this, saying how much I could listen to Ozzy still. Even some of the modern shit he's coming out with solo. I'm like, still not bad enough yet that I can't listen.
A large catalog.
It is. But I'm just even talking the modern stuff. I'm like, he's still putting out tolerable things. I'm not going to say it's his best work, but things you can at least put on and go, all right, wasn't a waste of time.
I saw him with my brother at Shays, and then I saw at the Theater of Madness tour. Then I saw him with the original lineup of Black Sabbath at Darien Lake, and they played all just old Black Sabbath. It was great.
Yeah, his last solo record was very well done. Yeah. He's still, I mean, if he puts out another album, I'll go buy it. I've got no problem. Patient Number 9, great record. All right, so my number 4 is Algiers by Calexico. This was a first moment when the musical template of desert jazz came into my ear, and then it had this Spanish flair and even Spanish singing in some cases. Boy, I was immediately hooked, so much that I even made a meal to music to it. It was one of the first meal to musics done. And I had to have every single album right then and there. And thank God that I got into them later. So there was a lot to go back to. So that's Calexico. It's basically desert jazz in what they call it, but definitely has a very Spanish flair in a lot of it, but not all of it. Very talented individuals. We were fortunate enough to see them play here in Buffalo, and I took my brother-in-law and my sister, and they didn't know who they were. And now I think at least I know Andy is addicted, but I don't know about my sister. But it was a great show. And who opened? Canadian ambassador, something. The ambassador was the album.
Ex-ambassadors?
What? No, that's the name of the album, was something ambassador.
Still feel like I know it.
ABCD. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll go to Alex.
All right, back to Mark. No, so staying on theme, and I don't know if it's something in the salmon chef Jeff cooked about 11 months ago, but Back in Black by AC/DC. You can't not get fired up here in most of those songs. And again, staying on theme, another band that anytime I've heard them come on recently, I stop and appreciate it a little bit more. Not sure why. Not sure how my listening habits have changed in that way, where I'm starting to trend back to some of the older stuff like that and be
Well,
more
I'll tell you,
mindful.
I mean,
But
I don't think I'm twice your age, but I'm definitely, I'm 53. You're still in your what 30s, so I can tell you what as I get older, I appreciated more music as I got older. Once I hit like 35, 40, I was definitely paying more attention to everything that just kind of just floated by me. You know what I mean?
well, and I think in the 2020s now, and it was that way in the mid to late 2010s, that his music seemed a lot more on an even plane. There's more people now. There's more stuff put out. Man, AC/DC's like sound is just so unique.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking from a lyrical or a musicianship standpoint,
Timeless.
you know it's them if you pulled the lyrics out of it, or you just needed to hear that voice.
Mhm.
Either way, you know it's AC/DC off of the sound, and it's just resonated with me a lot more with a very high energy. So, yeah, Back in Black.
Yeah, their lyrics speak, I've got big balls and you've got big balls, or I want a mistress for Christmas.
Mhm.
It's just, yeah, it just says it all. It's great. They're fun. They just put it out there and they go for it. It was a great live show. One of the best I've seen.
I was gonna say one of the first music videos I was ever introduced to by my dad was the Thunderstruck music video with the 6 tier layers of whatever of the crowd and everything, and I went, "That's a fucking concert."
Yeah.
As a kid, I'm like, "Holy shit! I need to go to a concert."
I
Yeah.
think they were one of the first
Never
ones
find
to
that
do,
venue
I
again.
think they were one of the first ones to do the video where they do they perform on the back of a flatbed truck. They do it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. It's got the bagpipes in it, and it just which at that time is like bagpipes. Who would have thought of that?
Yeah.
And
We've all
it just-
tried the Angus Young skip too, and you know it, and you're denying it. If you ever say that you didn't, you're lying. So that's another end of it too.
I'm more into the Angus Curly Shuffle on the side.
Yeah, but at what point do we start laying down the difference between Chuck Berry and Angus Young with the skips?
Well, I think that was his, shout out to those people before. He's very much aware of where things came from, right? I think everybody is.
One thing actually I have noticed about him is whenever I see an interview or something and see him speak, he's very quick to reference outward.
Yeah, it's a shame, because was probably more left in the tank. Yeah, I would think. Sue.
So like a 180 from AC/DC, a few episodes back, Jeff Crichton brought up Don Henley, I think.
Mhm.
I think he did.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be CDCA. Said it was a 180.
Well, just sound wise.
Oh,
DCA, you're so funny.
got to be more specific on that. I thought it was the name.
All right. But yeah, so End of the Innocence,
Mm.
kind of a brilliant little album, I think. A little I don't know, not downtrodden, but
Mhm.
it was politically motivated and kind of spoke of his thoughts at the time, and just some really good, powerful songs, lyrics, and yeah.
So when you go to that record, what's the lyric you remember the most?
I don't like to be put on the spot like that.
Okay.
I just remember thinking, I wonder if this guy was ever in the Eagles.
I I think I know what lyric though you're going for. If you if you say it out loud, I'll
I know hearses with luggage racks.
oh no, that's not it.
Just he had at that point he had some writing going on that album from start to finish. The writing on it is just
I've
Really
recognized that even when
Sting like in a way, you know.
And even
I've heard when I heard Dirty Laundry, I'm like, I know this isn't the same reference, but even when I heard that, that's one of the first songs that I'm like, holy shit, I get what the words are saying all of a sudden. After years and years of listening to that song, I'm like, it clicks.
okay. No, he's good. He's good lyrically, and his timing is it's I don't know. He knows how to space out words and sounds and
He's
so
one I got to do a deeper dive on because of you guys.
should
I would definitely start with End of the Innocence.
yeah.
It is the best in the catalog. I probably won't even do a catalog review show because there's nothing.
That and everything else.
Yeah. That would be one where I think everybody would land on the same one. Sort of probably like Guns N' Roses. You do Guns N' Roses, everyone's landing on Appetite for Destruction. Yeah. But all right, Jeff Young.
Mine's an album from '89. It's The Real Thing from Faith No More.
Yeah.
That, to this day, the album does not get old. All the songs are their own song. It's such a good variety. That album can relate to almost any genre.
Yeah, it's what it's out there.
It is just, it was at the time it came out, there was nothing like it. So unique. And just when you think, oh, okay, here's a song with like just mosh, thrash, screaming, then he goes into something where he actually shows he can sing, and it just, you got the heavy guitars, you got keyboards, you got just all kinds of stuff, man. It's just, it is an album that rocks.
Would they be? I mean, I just did. You know, we talked about Linkin Park. Would there be a Linkin Park if there wasn't a Faith No More? Probably not. New metal was that's Faith No More. That's them and a few other bands in that mix, and you know they laid a great foundation and let everybody else ride that. And
they don't do a bad cover either. All their covers are good.
Yeah,
What got me thinking? I never really thought about what inspired like a Linkin Park or a Limp Bizkit or some of that new metal, rapish rock type stuff. Like I feel like I don't know that I would have pinned Faith No More there though as a pioneer of it. I don't know why, but I gotta think about that topic a little more too.
Yeah, you'll find it in your research, I'm sure.
I think the grunge era itself just did it. It was just asking for that different composition.
Well, I don't know the grunge. I don't know if it lent to that because in the Faith No More arena, I don't hear grunge, and I don't, you know what I mean. But especially in Linkin Park, I don't hear grunge at all. Alternative had already taken over at that point. Grunge was a dead memory. Really, it was the ones that were surviving were very low key bands that had just been under the radar. Anybody who was big in grunge was pretty much gone at that point, besides those that had passed that and kept going into rock and other things like Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots, and and that merged into one of the bands that kind of survived all that, but prior to that went into that and out of it, the Cult. They managed to go in and out of it from what they were to like a sonic rock kind of thing into grunge and then into alternative. And
by the way, is that the most successful band name change ever? Death Cult to Cult.
There's a good show. Yeah, that's a best band change names. I don't know. I think the Rainbow Butt Monkeys might have that one at number one, but
actually, I really would have loved to have seen them carry on as that.
I am picking. I'm picking voice change. Not only is this one of the most classic albums in Canadian history, but what it did was solidify how great a live accent the band had, what the band was, and how the live album that came after Trouble at the Hen House was a piece of shit compared to what they are live. And that's my pick is Road Apples, the deluxe version, which obviously has the entire concert, which has New Orleans is Sinking, the Killer Whale Tank, and more from the Roxy. I honestly, I've never been more disappointed in the music industry ever, except for Metallica's Lulu, when the Tragically Hip released the live record. And I just went, what is this? This is not what we remember. And obviously, if you watch the documentary, which I encourage anyone in the music multiverse to watch, even if you don't know them, it'll help you know them. You should know them. Anyone who loves music should know them. I'm sorry, whether you don't think you'll like them or not. They are a music historian kind of band that needs to be appreciated and discussed because they're that important. Like me, I'm not a huge fan of certain bands, but I know their music history, and I applaud it and work with it and understand where it came from. They are probably one of the most important bands in Canadian history, and more. And
As I drink their wine.
yes, but that album in the deluxe version is the quintessential piece to what is, to me, still the masterpiece in the catalog. To me, it has it. Don't get me wrong, fully completely, which Alex picked last year, is another dynamic record.
Yep.
But this one always solidified me in that.
Those easily could have been a 1A, 1B conversation for me by
Yeah.
far. I picked Fully Completely because I felt like it was kind of a layup last year to pick Road Apples. So
Yeah. So, all right. So back to you, Alex.
I couldn't decide between these two albums, but same band. I guess one's cheating for calling it an album, but two that get a lot of play for me to this day. Nevermind and the Unplugged album by Nirvana. I think for a live show, one of the things I love when I listen to any of the Unplugged album is if I'm listening to it, I'm listening to the whole album in sequential order because I think the side conversations between Kurt and the band and production are just so fun for the one-liners and the random things that are said there. When they're bringing up a third glass of tea and he goes, "Thanks, I didn't have any already." Or when Chris is taking a long time tuning his bass, he turns over and just goes, "What are you tuning, a harp?"
Yeah, I remember.
Like just little side bits like that in there make it special. And if you're not listening in sequential order, you'll catch them at the end and then you'll hear a cut off of what they're saying. So doesn't make a whole ton of sense. Otherwise, and then yeah, the Nevermind album is just that's one of the best ever. And I keep going back to that a lot lately.
I would be more thankful for that Unplugged live record. I think it is the best Unplugged album ever made.
I agree. I don't think anything really comes close to as memorable from that series as that was.
No, that was one of those things that actually is one of our shows one of these times is favorite Unplugged albums. And that doesn't have to necessarily be Unplugged the MTV because there are albums that are just acoustic though.
Right.
But that is like I was like going through my mind like that obviously comes first to mind. I did think REM's live Unplugged live was really good too. Live was excellent too. But their song choices and the things that they did in the were
even throwing in a sprinkle of a few covers in there. Not just one,
beautifully done too. They thought of that stuff. They weren't that was real. That wasn't like somebody said, "Why don't you do this cover?" No, they knew what they loved. And
if I'm not mistaken, and I just got to check. Wow, I don't have it. I could have swore I did. The fact that I don't tells me that I need to go buy it. I think I might have the CD, but man, I got to get the DVD of that or something just to have a hard copy because it's just you got to have something like that to watch that performance. It's fun to watch as much as it is if you're going to listen to the album just audio.
I do like watching intimate shows better. That's for sure. Sue.
And I was going to say, speaking of which, not to cut you off on that too. You talked about intimate shows, an album I thought about putting on this list and didn't, because I was going to go City and Color out a little bit. they had an intimate show that's on YouTube that's like less than an hour, but more than a half hour. And they do a little bit of that new album with
Yep.
Love Still Held Me Near, and then did some of the classics in there, sprinkled one or two or
I
three.
want to
in
say
there.
that's a double CD I have. Pretty sure.
Yeah, it's I think like CBC put it out or something, but it landed on YouTube, and it was just a. I watched it one day out of nowhere. I'm like, oh God, I just killed like 45 minutes. Shit. Okay.
Back to Sue.
So I don't know if I've said this one before or not. I went with Melissa Etheridge and I went with Brave and Crazy.
Okay.
Another amazing album, which I think every song on it was really good. Just I would say it's up there with like perfection for me.
Yeah.
And good for the time too. I think it was I don't know if cutting edge is the word, but it was just so different from all the other stuff that was out and going on. And so
It was a
still
little bit more honest than what was going on, I think, right? It was
honest.
personal. It was
Just
personal. It was one, yeah.
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 It was
That's
real. There was no what did they used to call that? I don't know. Candy, whatever was going on at that time.
Commercial rock.
Well,
Candy.
I get what you're saying, where it's kind of more fluff.
yeah. Yeah.
She didn't care whether it was going to get radio play. It meant the world to her, and which transcends to people. And that's the idea. You can't make a record for the people. You have to make an honest record, and the people find what they like out of it. You know what I mean? Like you went to Alanis Morissette. Well, she didn't, people take those songs and do different things with them. She's like always surprised by what people think the song is about,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't write a commercial song. Hell, we talked about AI the other night. So
Being a friend
Yeah.
of the Kulagowskis, that Melissa Etheridge falls into the recommendation of constant name dropping list of someone to listen to. You guys have
I wouldn't, I
made that a
wouldn't
point.
say the entire catalog. There are bits and pieces of stuff, but obviously Jagged Little Pill, and for me, thankful, or no, not thankful, holy crap. Supposed music infatuation junkie, maybe.
You're talking about Alanis, yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Mhm.
the two that I would gravitate to start.
Mhm.
She did get a little bit more commercialized and different instruments, but she's still that. I don't know what was gripping about her was how that angst and everything was turned after a few years, and she had to find a happy place, and that's an interesting. People would have loved to have another Jagged Little Pill record, just like people would love that there was another Rob Zombie record, Hellbilly Deluxe, just like they loved that Eminem did Marshall Mathers too, but Alanis never did that again. Just
It's funny because I kind of liken it to a wrestling term. Everyone wants the heel that turned babyface to turn heel again at some point.
ooh,
They love
wow.
They love the heel.
Profundity on my program.
But it's very much like when John Cena got his rise and was doing that rap gimmick, and then he turned into the fan favorite doing Make-A-Wishes and whatever for years while he was holding the title. And everyone goes, we want the basic thugonomics guy back.
Okay.
Who made all these raunchy raps about his opponents and shit and used dirty underhanded tactics, and we all loved it. And everyone's like, what the hell's this good guy shit now?
Yeah.
He's still trying to look the part kind of still from that, but he's not quite. He's wrestling in jorts. And that's how I feel like people are viewing some of those albums where they
That leads right back into the Miami Vice thing when Sonny Crockett became a bad guy. Well, wait a minute. Do we want him to be the bad guy?
people want the original thing they ended up liking once they see what it transforms into, and it's just not the same thing.
Mr. Young, are you next?
I think this is from 2003. Picking Absolution from Muse.
News.
Mhm.
It's funny, like even before that, I had like Guitar Hero and Muse had Knights of Sidonia on there, and
Yeah.
fun to play, but for whatever reason, I just never thought to myself, I need to check out this band. I was just like, okay, what's the next song I want to play? I'm like, okay, this is fun to play. But, then when Absolution comes out, they had so many hits off that album. and you're watching like them perform on TV. They're starting to show up more on TV and stuff. And you're like those guitars look like iPads. What is up with that? Like how do like they're inventing things now? Like they're just like their idea of electronic music is completely different than anybody else before. It still is rock, and it's just they have like very melodic and some harmony, but everything from piano to just heavy guitars. It was just like it's kind of like Radiohead, but to the 10th power. It's just like more. It's more of it. More. Just like
Yeah.
you just blew it up like a balloon and just.
I always thought of them as Radiohead meets Rush meets
Yeah.
Queen and a ball of fire, and just watching Bellamy come out and play the piano synthesizer and then just whip the guitar around and start shredding like he's Slash or like he's Alex Lifeson, anybody. I mean, he's a marvelous guitar player.
Yeah, he is.
And the bass player, he's a genius. He never gets talked about at all.
And
Yeah.
thank you for reminding me of the most transformational game to open up my eyes than playing Guitar Hero, because for 1 second it made me feel like I could actually play an instrument.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was fun.
And
It
it's
was.
also now the reason I like War Pigs as much as I do.
Awesome. My number 2 album is The New Deal from 2001. I guess I'm staying in Canada. This kind of instrumentation meets computer augmentation meets jazz is just changed my entire outlook on that genre. If you want to say it's a genre, electronica jazz, right? But they were a jam band in an electronica environment. I thought when I first heard that it was all computerized. But no, they're actually playing the instruments and pulling it through and doing all these interesting things. Are they progressive? No, but the whole principle of how they laid it out, and it just gave me an entire different exploration of rabbit holes to go down and around it, because not everybody was like them, that's for sure. It's not Ozark tentacles or anything of that nature, but it's certainly impressive in sound and quality of sound and depth of sound. But when you're thinking about, when you first hear it, you're like, oh yeah, a bunch of computer people playing instruments, but no, they actually have live shows and they play those instruments, and that's how come. I've never seen the live show in person, but I certainly would love to, and I think they're still around today. But so mine is The New Deal, and that was from 2001. It's The New Deal. Alex.
So I'm going to drive Mark nuts, like I usually do.
Country.
Actually, yes. Kind of. If I know Mark for anything in this world, he loves cover albums, almost as much as compilations. If anything, it's the one thing that'll get you eliminated from this show, and yet I'm still here. So, two that kind of stuck out that came out this year. Arkel's Disco Loadout, making things fun again, and hearing some things that I didn't realize I would like. Like, I can tell you right now, I kind of like their version of Sledgehammer better than the original.
Okay. No one will agree with you, but go ahead.
And that's totally fine, because that's why I like the Arkels. So I don't know. So there was that, and then another one that kind of flew under the radar a little bit is a bunch of different country artists coming together to make the Tom Petty covers. And it's the first time I ever think I viewed Tom Petty in a country light that he could have been that way, even though he was not. He was more the, I hate classifying genres and being
As close as he got to that would be rockabilly. He did that. He had a very strong connection to Elvis in certain things.
But being in that very folky sound, this truly, whether it was just the twangs and accents or whatever, pushing it on that other end of the ledge, was a fun listen. To just give Tom Petty's classics a different sound, and So I got to give a nod to the Disco Loadout album from the Arkells and In the Petty Country.
Yeah, he had a southern accent, maybe. Sue.
Well, so I guess this is lame at this point, and I have to apologize to all the viewers who have been waiting in the bots. But it's third time tonight. So I went with Road Apples, Tragically Hip, probably because we just watched the documentary.
Yeah. probably.
So, kind of a renewed interest and appreciation for, but yeah, that was just a game changer in my musical catalog. And
I need to watch this documentary because I need to see how different it is from the other 2 documentaries that were put out.
it is different for sure. Yeah, I felt the same way. I'm like, what am I gonna be watching?
Right.
But they do a really good job.
Or is it just gonna feel somewhat repeated?
I don't think so.
No. I mean, like, that was a question leading into it that I've had that maybe like someone like you may have also had before seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
technically to me, and I'm gonna put this out there to
Put it out there.
all of you. It should be nominated for Academy Award. It should. It's a good enough documentary the way it's made that it should be. The problem is it's a series,
Yeah.
so I don't think it can be. That's problematic. But who's going to sit in the theater for was it about 8 hours, 6, something like that? Four episodes, maybe almost 8 hours. Got to be somewhere around there. I think Canadians would have sat there for 8 hours. I know I would have.
8 hours.
Yeah, I would have sat there for 8 hours.
Mm.
I would have had to have, certain beverages, but
maybe
Well,
a 15-minute intermission.
Yeah, they would have
between
sold it
the
as 4
episodes.
shows, though. No one's gonna give up their theater for 8 hours.
no, that's it. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's the sad part.
And you can buy the catheter up front at the snack bar for
There you
$5.
Yeah.
Well, and
You don't have to get up.
based on the amount of footage that they show, and you can just imagine how much more is out there, and there's probably going to be another documentary at some point in time because
Has to be.
Yeah.
so much. But anyway, so yeah, I went with that one.
Let's put her on the spot again. Favorite song from Road Apple?
So hard. I mean, I know New Orleans is sinking.
No,
Your
that's not
Crystal's
on there.
pretty good.
I don't know.
It's on the deluxe version. anyway.
Yes. I don't know.
So you'd rather have the live stuff? Is that what you're saying? That was the
Well, I do like the live version.
Yeah. Oh. Mr. Young, your final number 1.
I'm just gonna go with I don't remember what year it was, but Picture of Health from the Headstones.
I
just think
92 probably.
that album is just like, if you could master being a bar band, this is the master class.
Yeah.
1993.
There is my concert I'm thankful for this year.
Yeah, I bet.
Finally getting to see them was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I almost picked, to be honest, the it was a best of compilation. It was Heaven and Hell. It was the best of Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio. And the reason I would have been thankful for that is because if it weren't for that album, they wouldn't have toured and I wouldn't have ever got to see Ronnie James Dio live.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's to me, right? I keep losing track of when
it
Soup
is
kicked off, so
you.
it got shifted down. My number 1 this time around in 2024 album I play a lot. It is, I could say the number 1. All right. So what I'll do is I'll do this. We waited an incredible amount of time for this record to come out. Their debut record could easily be on this list. It was what started it all for me. It's what got me involved in a lot of things, and understanding a little bit more where alternative music might have been and where it was going once the grunge era was at its near end. This band kind of fell in between both. And Throwing Copper by Live, I still think it is better than Nevermind by a mile.
I mean, they're just different.
Yeah.
The musical accomplishment, the vocal is absolute immense. He knows how to command a vocal and deliver lyrics that you wouldn't expect or think of, even when they go from sexy to murderous to vulgar, and there's not a bad song on that record. I want to say it's 15 tracks, which is absurd, or 14 or 15 tracks. I was reminded of it this weekend while I was in Florida at the showcase for lacrosse. There is a college, York College in York, Pennsylvania, and they didn't have the PA on there, so I turned around and said, "York, Pennsylvania, right?" And she said, "Yep." I go, "Oof, home of one of my favorite bands ever," and I said, "Live," and the head coach said, "Yep," and then pointed to the assistant and said, "Not in her era." So if you have not checked that album out, it is up there with Soundgarden's Super Unknown and others in that mix of how it's delivered. Lightning Crashes obviously spent a ridiculous amount of time at number one, and that was not the first track. As a matter of fact, the album wasn't even doing that well until that single released.
Mhm.
And obviously the one I'm referring to as their opener was Mental Jewelry, which is a stunning record in itself for a debut.
Yeah.
So that is my number one. I will thank the panelists for doing this tonight. It's always fun to be thankful. Last year we had almost every panelist was on the show. So hopefully we can get everybody back together for something else. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Articles, videos, podcasts coming very soon. We're almost at the end of the year. We'll want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope they're having a great weekend. Join me this Saturday for Album Review Saturday. They're all soundtracks this weekend. And join me for Unknown Sunday. It is a double Unknown Sunday, considering last week I could not pull the Unknown Sunday off in the travel realm. So it's a double one. So
Double header.
Thank you for watching and happy listening.